What up, Hitsy J? All right, come back in. Come back in. All right, I'm gonna wait just a minute. Okay, we got 30. Just a minute. Hold up. Hold up. Shelly, what up? Hugh, what up? Hugh Lee, Terry, Jayon. All right. So boom. This is what I was saying. This is the gym. Good morning, Alexis. Um, if you're just coming in, there was a previous live. We were just talking. Ran out of time. This is the second part of talking this morning, but I'm about to drop a gem on you. This is something I truly believe. Okay, so what I was saying is, I feel like a lot of times we get in relationships with people who we like, we're infatuated with, we're passionate about, but it's this romanticized reality, this fantasy of what it will be like to be with him. Oh my God, he's so sweet. He's so caring and patient with me. And, you know, the way we look at each other and the way it feels when we kiss and the way that this person makes me, want to do X, Y, and Z for them. And you think about all of these things and that is unique to this particular scenario with a person. That feels to supersede your general interactions with other people, and then that tells you that that they're worth being in a relationship with. Let me get into a relationship with them, or let me focus my time here and commit. That may tell you that you need to entertain them more seriously and give them more focus as far as dating, instead of just being all around and not zoning in. But that is not an indicator that you're supposed to be in a relationship with that person. That's an indicator that there's some amount of connection here, for which is to be determined as far as how far it should go. And I feel like when you get in relationships with people at that level, you're basing it on what is their greatest potential. It's like, when they are infatuated with someone, who will they be? That's what you're jumping in a relationship with. Not when they come down off their high, who will they be? And when they're miserable, who will they be? And when you're no longer new and shiny to them, who will they be? You know, think about somebody you liked a whole lot when you first liked them. And then think about how everything, every interaction, every new friend, once they become your best friend, every new lover, when it's just become your man or your woman, it settles. It's not as you're not on this euphoric high about this new interaction that seems to be serving your life now. You settle into everything. It could be a new job that you're just so excited about. And the job doesn't have to become less of a good job or less of an opportunity, but you settle into things. They lose the excitement of being new and fresh. So it's like, once you settle into this, how you treat that, how you interact with it is just naturally going to change. Um, when a person gets frustrated with you, when y'all are just together, they're going to treat you like they're going to treat somebody when they're frustrated. They're not going to treat you like the new thing that, like, it's all right, I really like him. Mm-mm. How they going to act with their friends when they're frustrated? Or their family, or their mother, or their whoever? That's who you're going to get. And you're not going to get to see that person while they're still in any kind of honeymoon phase with you. They're not, you don't, do you do that? When you really like somebody, they can do some shit that you don't tolerate, and you're going to have an adverse response to how you would typically respond. You're going to be more forgiving or more patient, or you're going to excuse it in a way you normally wouldn't, more tolerant of this person. And it's not because you're faking, but it's just because of the space you're in with them, that it doesn't trigger the same response from you. But the moment that it settles and that person is just your nigga, bitch, it's like, bitch, I just told you we were supposed to be here at 3 o'clock. So why are you late? And you're irritated, like, it's not, you're not, it's all right, boo, I'm just happy to see you. No, bitch, where the fuck was you at? So it's like, it takes time to really get to see who a person is. And you can't see it while you're infatuated with them. And they can't show you while they're infatuated with you. And neither can you show them who you are while being infatuated. It takes to just really continue to be in one another's space and go through some phases where, like, bitch, I don't feel like talking to them right now. But still both be mature enough to see the value in your interaction, to where no one just has a hissy fit and throws the interaction away. And see how a person is when they're down and how they handle being down, whether they can encourage themselves or whether they need to be picked up and they become this depressive, draining spirit who isn't equipped to handle their own emotions. You don't know those things ahead of time. No matter how sweet or loving or quality someone seems, or how many qualities they possess that are beautiful, you don't get to see the other stuff. You don't get to see how a person is when they're angry with you or when you disappoint them tremendously, because you get some shit out of people when you disappoint them. You know, these are all important things. You need to know how a person handles you when you act the fucking fool. Just because you right or wrong for acting a fool, you're going to do it in a relationship. You're going to fall below what you should be doing in a relationship, or how you should act in a relationship. You're going to get frustrated about. You need to know that the person that you choose is someone that can handle these things, that knows what to do when you're upset or frustrated or disappointed, or is someone that you know what to do when they're upset, frustrated, or disappointed, or are equipped to intervene in that. It can't be because we like each other, because we connect. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so much deeper than just being like, oh, what we feel. No, love is a very cerebral, choosing love, rather. Falling into it is totally emotional. It's mindless. But choosing the proper love relationship, choosing something that you can sustain and stay in. Oh, you on here talking shit. You up, babe? But choosing something that you can stay in requires a lot of attention. It requires you to really challenge yourself and ask questions, and to take time. It requires patience to get quality love. The patience of not letting your emotions run wild and just saying, oh, fuck it, I love you, I want to be with you. It takes discipline, you know, discernment, self-awareness, and awareness of the person that you're interacting with. But that's why you can't microwave this kind of thing. Like, and people who do, I don't care if it lasts for 5-6 years. Like, you're going to come to that point where you realize you did not prepare yourself for this. And it doesn't mean that just because you take your time either that it's going to work. But taking your time gives you the best opportunity. Like, at this point in my life, I wouldn't date somebody for less than 8 months before being in a relationship with them. And I'm not like a person that's like a number person, like, oh, we got to wait this long before we have sex. But I just don't. 8 months to me is still, it's not a lot of time. I dated someone for 8 months, like I told you in the beginning of the last video. But it took 6 months for me to see those other aspects of their personality. They seemed like a person that I would be with from the start. Had I not been in a space where I committed myself to myself, I probably would have been with them. And I would have found out after being with them how they can be, which would have made me resent them, because that's not what I signed up for. But see, when you see how a person can be, you see what a person is capable of, you see how they act when they're angry, and the whole nine, you get to decide for yourself, do I want to be with that? Do I want to sign up for that? And when you're given that opportunity to decide that that's what you want to take on, you'll treat it differently. It'll feel differently. When that person does those things, you already are prepared for that. You've loved that person. You learn to love those things about that person. And you feel like you're equipped to handle it. You're not blindsided and resentful of somebody releasing these new energies or ways of being, and you being like, where the fuck did this come from? Oh, bitch, I'm not into this. Like, no, it's like, my baby be getting fresh. When they get frustrated, it's how they act. And I love them. And that's the decision I'm consciously making. I'm here for this. I'm able to I'm getting in this with the understanding of what it is I'm going to be fighting with and fighting for. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference between microwave relationships and the ones that you really take your time to understand. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say on that topic, because I feel like a lot of people don't really have, they don't know what they're doing or what it is they're even considering before they're jumping in a relationship. They're just making sure the feelings are there. But the feelings are like a quarter of it. Like they're a quarter. The next is like the cerebral process. The next one is your communication, and then the one of the most important is spiritually. Like that person has to spiritually satisfy you, and they have to be good for your spirit. It can't just be about what you like, because sometimes we're attracted to our traumas. It has to spiritually benefit you, you know. So hope somebody took something from that. When I say spiritually satisfy you, um that involves what your purpose is in life, your self actualization. And self actualization is basically you discovering who you are, what you're placed here for, um, in all respects, on deeper respects. Some people will serve to help you further understand yourself, further grow on what you're building within yourself. Other people will serve as distractions. And you have to know the difference. You have to know the difference. But it requires you to first know yourself before getting in something with someone else. It's very important. And you got to take that time. That's part of what I've been doing. Like, I feel like I have a lot of self knowledge and self awareness, but there's certain aspects I wanted to know myself deeper. That my last relationship taught me. I wanted to learn me deeper. I wanted to understand certain aspects of who I was deeper, what I needed, wanted, who I was. Um, and I think the better you understand that, the easier it becomes to make good decisions about who to love. Because you'll be unattracted very easily if they try to take you off course from what's important, you know? Um, at least what's important for you. Because everyone has different values, you know? Um, and that's the thing, like, there should be no rush for a relationship for anybody, because you should want to be very careful and take your time, unless you're seeking. See, seekers jump because they're looking to heal, they're looking to feel better. But there should be no rush when you think of the fact that you get to spend your life with one person. There are over 6 billion people on this planet. You get one. Like, one. That is a lot of responsibility to place on someone else. And also, that is a lot to hand over to someone else. You know? So when you think about that, when you think about how much it requires to be with someone, and how much you require as a person, what you need in so many different areas, the people we see that are unhappy are the ones that jumped. They didn't take the time to make sure that all their areas were covered sufficiently. No one's going to satisfy everything in you. That's not how the world works. But there's a certain amount that should be there, that oftentimes people just say, I'll compromise. I'll compromise it. It's good enough. But that comes from feeling like you don't deserve. Because if you feel like you're lucky to have something, then you'll jump on it. If you understand your worth, which requires you to get to know yourself, then you're not jumping toward anything, because you realize what value you have, and that you're saving. Like, I look at myself and I say, I know what value I have, and I'm learning more and more every day what value I have. And I say to myself, there's only one person that's going to get this. And if I think this is so valuable, I want to pick the most valuable person to me to get it. I do not want to be with someone and then meet someone else and be like, I feel like they're more valuable. I want to pick the person that I feel is the most valuable person in the world. And I want someone to see me as the most valuable person in the world, their most valuable selection. You know what I'm saying? Um, and that requires you to be very careful and very patient and very discerning and very secure with yourself and your time, and you know. So yeah, went lots of different ways in this discussion. From that last live, moving over to this one, they kind of served as different things. One is what I do understand. This one is about what I understand. The last one is about carnally, from my flesh, what my spirit has been talking about, where I am, what I've been desiring, this new space of feelings that I'm moving into, that I'm kind of fishing through and trying to understand, and deciphering and discerning what this all means and what it is that my spirit is requesting from me. But what I do know is what I've said in this video. Those things are facts. The patience, the self knowledge. Many of our parents didn't have that opportunity to just discover themselves. They had children, they had commitments, and baby daddies and baby mamas, and decisions to make, and about whether to marry, whether to leave it alone. And they already enthralled themselves in this cycle of exterior sources being considerations for their own decision making for themselves. Once they had you, they had to make decisions for someone else, not just themselves. But many of us, being LGBT, or even if you're not, if you just have been blessed to still have that space to focus on you first, you don't have to think that way. You really get the time to discover exactly what you need and what you want. And if you want to travel abroad and fucking wing it with no day job, that's your prerogative. Like, there is no child whose mouth you have to feed and be responsible for. And that allows you the space to really decide for yourself what you want out of life. But in that same breath, you have to understand that a partner is just like adding a child. It's someone you have to be responsible for, accountable for, consider. So it's important to take a good amount of time and just consider yourself. Discover what you want from a clear mind of just thinking about you, not questioning whether it has to do with loving Pookie or nothing. It's just like, it's about me and what's best for me. I just want to figure out what I want. What do I like? What kind of guys or girls do I like? What kind of treatment do I like? What level of sensitivity, expressiveness do I like in others? What level of sensitivity and expressiveness would I like to see from myself? Not who am I today, but what do I feel like is the perfect version of me? From reflecting on what has brought me to this very moment of who I am. Am I this way because it's natural, or is this part of my life experience that has made me this person? And from that point, is this where I want to stay? Do I like this version of myself, or do I want to change it? Would it be better for me to be this way? Would it better suit me and the things I want out of life to change? And these are all reflections you need to make before just being with someone else. And you need the space for that. You need space. You need space. You need emotional and mental space, spiritual space, to challenge yourself on those levels. So I hope that, this was an enriching conversation. Sometimes it goes here and you just like get all in your, I call it your Badu. That Jill Scott, that Badu, that spiritual, that Andre 3000. You just go in that realm of expression and conversation, and that spiritual aspect of who we are and how we have to think about the world. Some things aren't, you can't always be thinking so literally, so um, worldly. There's a totally separate spiritual world that we all have to be aware of and live in and think about and reflect on for our decision making and our peace and happiness in life. And I'm glad that whoever is in here and whoever sees this later, because um, I have definitely gotten a better hold on my YouTube channel, and I'm making sure I take these videos that end up on here for 24 hours and I transfer them over so that they can be watched later. But I hope that this enriches somebody, and if nothing else, challenges someone to think. Maybe slow someone down from making a big mistake, or saving them just a little bit of headache. Believe we have to go through things in our life a little bit just to give us experience and teach us things firsthand. But after a certain point, it can be cyclical. You're just on a cycle of going back into the same things and damaging yourself or setting yourself back from healing that you need. And it's best to get the information sooner than later and be able to adapt the way that you move, taking into account what new information you received. And as I said before, one thing my father taught me: it is not your job, my son, to change anyone's mind, but it's your job to plant the seed, and it will be nurtured, it will be watered, and eventually it will grow. Good morning, P. Frank. I think you'll enjoy this live, P. Frank. I'm going to end it right here, but I want you to go back and I want you to watch this. You'll like this one. It's definitely intellectual, spiritual, and it's purposeful. There's 2 lives, so you can skip the first one if you like and start here. I appreciate you guys for staying with me and entertaining what I had to say about this. There's a lot of things we talk about. Some of them are just, surface and silly and candid, and I love that. Some of them are political, and I love that. And some of them are spiritual, and I love that. I appreciate it when it gets spiritual or intellectual, and we remain in this space and really entertain these things, because that's what matters more than the comical and all those things. But they're all aspects of who we are, and it's important that we show all of them, because it's who we are. But all right, I love you too. It's your friend King David. Have a blessed, positive, productive, and last but certainly not least, encouraged day. I'll be talking to you soon. Hope you took something from this. This will be up on YouTube very soon if you need it later. All right. Love you guys. Deuces. Go conquer the world today.